I would describe it as a class that teaches the side of history that most classes tend not to teach, and something more fun even.
I would describe the ethnic studies class as one that you will learn about different systems and how those systems affect people, such as the justice system and education, and how them can correlate to how a type of people, such as race or gender, could go through the world.
Pretty much learning about everything new that's like coming out of like different genders, different like races, different like parts of the world, like how even Napa was brought up. So it's pretty cool.
That we learn about basically, just like not just gang related stuff, but basically how violence has an impact on communities and how like what we could do to change that and certain stuff like that.
Sí, algo que tenga que ver algo que tenga que ver con el tema. Puede ser, y no tiene que ser super.
Something really interesting I learned about was about Chavez, and it's about a group of workers that were kicked out of their homes to create the Dodger Stadium. That was really interesting because I did not know about it. Usually I really like history, but most of other videos about history don't really talk about situations like that. I mostly talk about bigger topics, and that was one that I was really interested about because I wouldn't hear about it anywhere else.
Well, right now we're learning about like Napa Valley's like grape and wine history, and I thought that was pretty like interesting because like that's literally what Napa's about, and just seeing like how it's all made is crazy.
Maybe walking to the years with my grandpa, Papa Lalo. He would always tell me cuentos. He would tell me about the vines, how special they were. What he taught me, I think, is the reason I have so much love and passion for what I do.
I just think it's interesting because it's a good way to, like teach us history and English and just a lot of good things that we need to know about, just the world and the world around us, our communities, people around us. It's just good information.
A week ago, we learned about redlining and how it affects different communities. Redlining is like when people in power decide to not fund or help certain communities that are like neighboring to another one. And it usually ends up in like a community being run down or losing its value. It was interesting to me because I see it a lot in different places, for example, like Vallejo and Oakland. And I've always kind of known the word, but I never knew what it really meant. And that was probably one of the most valuable things I learned.
The houses were valued at a lot more. And a lot of the high crime and low property values were in the center of Vallejo's compared to the high properties were at the edges of it.
Interesting. And did you see a history of redlining in those same areas?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right. What does that make you think of?
I don't know, just the influence that redlining had on what our info is now.
The class did meet my expectations because we did talk about cultures around the world, but we also learned more about the groups and organizations that were affected and impacted on the world.
It's kind of been what I expected in a good way because I've learned about more of how cultures ended up how they are and more about the history behind them.